Hello, Pewter people. Scott Reynolds here with the new Pewter Pulse. Will Jalen McMillan wind up replacing Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay next year? That's certainly a possibility. Godwin is the second best receiver in Bucs history, right behind Mike Evans, of course, with 529 career receptions for 6,690 yards and 34 touchdowns. The four-time 1,000-yard receiver is probably the franchise's best ever third-round pick, right behind Hall of Famers Rondé Barber and John Lynch, of course. Godwin helped the Bucs win their second Super Bowl in 2020, but he's entering a big contract year 4 years later, and he'll turn 29 next February prior to free agency. Will this be Godwin's last season with the Bucs? Well, that depends on two things. The first is how well Godwin plays this year at age 28. He has a staggering $27.534 million cap hit this year, which is the largest on the team by far. Vita Vea is next on the list with a cap hit of over $20 million. That's nearly a $7 million difference. Just like they did with Mike Evans last year, the Bucs will make Chris Godwin play out his contract year to best gauge his value moving forward. That means no contract extension to lower that cap number. They're willing to have Chris play on this contract this year with that staggering cap value and see how he performs. So is Chris Godwin still a $20 million per year receiver? Well, the Bucs are doing him a huge favor by putting him back in the slot where he's thrived since 2019 to prove it. That's when Bruce Arians put him in the Larry Fitzgerald role, where Godwin was able to use his instincts and ability to win mismatches inside against nickel corners, linebackers, and safeties. Now, the Bucs just paid Mike Evans over $20 million a year for the next two seasons. So can they really afford a pair of $20 million receivers moving forward? Well, the Bucs want to see if there's any decline in Chris Godwin's production and Liam Cohen's offense, or if there's an increase in production with him going back to the slot. Specifically, the team wants to see Godwin's touchdown total increase. Since 2019, Godwin's numbers of receiving touchdowns have been in steady decline since he scored a career-high 9 in his lone Pro Bowl season in 2019. That was followed by just 7 touchdowns in 2020, and then 5 in 2021, only 3 in 2022, and just 2 touchdowns last year in addition to a rushing score. The other factor in this equation is the development of rookie Jalen McMillan. The Bucs feel like they got a third-round steal with the Washington receiver while he played in the slot almost exclusively last year. His first 2 seasons with the Huskies, he was outside at flanker and split end. And in 2022, it was actually McMillan, not Romodunze or Jalen Polk, who led the team in receptions and touchdowns with 79 catches for 1,098 yards and 9 TDs. Those numbers fell off last year when he missed 4 games due to a knee injury, and that let him slide in the draft until the 3rd round where the Bucs pounced. Upon his return to action in the latter part of the 2023 season, it was McMillan who had the 100-yard receiving day in Washington's Pac-12 championship win over Oregon. And he caught one of Michael Penix Jr.'s 2 touchdown passes in the playoff win over Texas. And in the national championship game, it was McMillan who produced the Huskies' lone touchdown in the loss to Michigan. The Bucs love the fact that McMillan scored 17 touchdowns in 3 seasons at Washington. That's Chris Godwin-like production when he came out of Penn State in 2017 with 18 career touchdowns in 3 years with the Nittany Lions. McMillan has a scorer's mentality, as he stated the other day in his press conference. Throughout Washington, the whole standard in the room was to make the stadium go boom. People come into the stadium with expectations, and you're supposed to meet them and let their emotions soar. McMillan went on to say, so every time we focus on that, and whether it's me or my teammate, I mean, that's just the goal. It made me feel amazing. That's one of my goals, just to change the whole dynamic of the stadium. Now, I was pleasantly surprised with the way that McMillan looked the other day. I expected him to not look as big as he did at 6'1", 192 pounds, but he's pretty well put together, and he's definitely a smooth route runner, as we saw during the Bucs rookie minicamp. If McMillan develops into a starting caliber receiver early in his rookie season and wins the third wide receiver role by beating out Trey Palmer, the Bucs might feel comfortable letting Godwin walk in 2025 and spending that money elsewhere on other positions on the team, and possibly fetching a valuable compensatory pick in 2026, maybe as high as a third rounder, depending on what happens in free agency. McMillan could be Godwin's replacement next year in the slot, with Palmer or someone else playing outside at the Z receiver position. That is, unless Chris Godwin rises to the occasion in his contract year, the way that Mike Evans did last season. Now, that would be a good problem for Jason Light and Mike Greenberg to have to solve next offseason, and a great situation for Baker Mayfield and Liam Cohen moving forward with another year of Evans, Godwin, and McMillan on offense in 2025. But at least the Bucs appear to have their bases covered with the drafting of Jalen McMillan, who could bring the boom in case Chris Godwin leaves the room. We got some boom this week on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channels. We hit 14,000 subscribers. Thank you, Pewter people. You're awesome. And if you haven't had the chance to subscribe, please do so. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. And also hit the like button and leave us a comment. That helps us with the YouTube algorithms and gets us in front of more awesome Pewter people like you. You can check out my Pewter Pulse videos, the Pewter Report podcast, great Bucs rookie minicamp and OTA footage up there on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel as well. And make sure you're following us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And make sure to visit pewterreport.com for our stories, breaking news, signings, maybe a Tristan Wirfs signing coming soon, as well as Bucs OTA coverage. And then training camp will be here before you know it. So you want to make sure that you're a pewterreport.com visitor. And I'll be back soon with a new Pewter Pulse.